The hug that silenced the rumors, Xukai and TanSongyun's emotional reunion that stopped time itself. What if the truth everyone's been chasing was never in the words, but in a single, unplanned embrace? What if months of speculation, silence, and carefully hidden emotion came crashing down in a single heartbeat, under the blinding lights of a stage where two people who had once shared everything, finally stopped pretending? That's exactly what happened when Xukai and TanSongyun saw each other again, after months of whispers, rumors, and unanswered questions. Hold on tight, C-drama family. The world of your favorite celebrities is unfolding before your eyes, and every moment is more breathtaking than the last. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now, because trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. It wasn't supposed to be an emotional night. The National Television Art Awards was meant to be glamorous, predictable, routine, another red carpet, another parade of gowns and tuxedos. But beneath that glittering surface, there was a tension everyone could feel. Because for the first time since his red carpet confession, Xukai and TanSongyun were about to stand in the same room. And the world was watching. The anticipation began hours earlier. Fans lined the barricades, clutching phones and banners. Reporters whispered theories into their cameras. Every celebrity arriving before them was asked the same question: do you think Xukai and TanSongyun will meet tonight? No one knew the answer. But everyone hoped. When TanSongyun arrived first, the internet exploded. She looked breathtaking, a delicate, silver gown that shimmered like falling starlight, her hair swept back into a low knot, her expression serene yet unreadable. She greeted reporters with that familiar warmth, the same smile that had once lit up drama sets alongside Xukai. But sharp-eyed fans noticed something else, a tiny white rose pinned to her wrist. The same symbol from her viral video. Then came Xukai. Black suit. No tie. A quiet storm in human form. His entrance was understated, but the effect was electric. The atmosphere shifted, you could almost feel it through the screen. Cameras followed his every move. He greeted fans, nodded at photographers, but didn't stop for interviews. His team said only one thing as he entered the venue: he won't be taking questions tonight. And yet, the silence only made the anticipation louder. Inside, both stars took their seats, on opposite ends of the same hall. The air between them felt charged, like static waiting to spark. The award segments rolled on, but the tension never faded. Every time the camera panned toward Xukai, the comment sections erupted. He's looking for her. Did you see that? His eyes moved toward her side. This feels like a movie. And then, halfway through the night, it happened. The lights dimmed. A hush fell. The host announced a special presentation, an award for unforgettable on-screen partnerships. When the nominees appeared on screen, the audience gasped. There they were, Xukai and TanSongyun, their scenes from Falling into Spring, Under the Light, and The Gentle Hour playing like a love letter to the past. When their names were announced as winners, the room erupted in applause. But the real story began when they both stood up. Xukai hesitated, glancing across the hall. She was already walking toward the stage. He followed. Cameras caught every breath of that walk, her soft composure, his barely restrained emotion. When they finally reached center stage, the host smiled nervously and handed them the award. For a brief second, they stood side by side, microphones in front of them, lights blazing down. And then, it happened. As the applause echoed, Xukai turned toward TanSongyun, his hand trembling slightly. You could see the war between control and emotion in his eyes. She looked up at him, calm, gentle, understanding, the kind of look that could stop the world. He whispered something only the cameras could half capture: "It's been a long time." Her lips curved into the faintest smile. Too long. And in that moment, without a script, without hesitation, Xukai stepped forward and pulled her into his arms. The audience gasped. Reporters dropped their cameras. Fans screamed. It wasn't just a polite embrace. It wasn't staged. It was raw, real, almost trembling with everything they hadn't said for months. TanSongyun froze for a heartbeat, then melted into it, her arms circling him slowly, tightly, like someone finally finding home again after being lost. The hall was silent except for the sound of shutters clicking and fans crying softly. Even the host, visibly moved, whispered into her mic, "This is history." When Xukai finally let go, his eyes were wet, not crying, but filled with that unmistakable glimmer of relief. She looked up at him, tears glistening against her lashes. The cameras zoomed in just in time to catch her whisper, "You didn't have to say it again. I already knew." And that one line, just 7 words, silenced every rumor that had haunted them for a year. The internet exploded in seconds. Within minutes, clips of the hug flooded every social platform across Asia. Fans replayed it in slow motion, analyzing every movement, the way his thumb brushed her shoulder, the way her eyes closed for just a moment longer than necessary. Hashtags flooded Weibo. Hashtag the hug that silenced the rumors. Hashtag Xukai TanSongyun reunion. Hashtag too long but finally here. Millions of viewers watched it on loop. Even global entertainment outlets, from Japan to South Korea to Thailand, picked up the story, calling it the most emotional live moment in years. The next morning, headlines read, "A hug that spoke louder than words." When Xukai held her, the world stopped. Not acting. Not promotion. Just truth. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, witnesses described what happened after the camera stopped rolling. Xukai walked TanSongyun backstage, hand gently on her back. The two stood quietly in the dim corridor for nearly a minute before anyone approached them. One staff member recalled hearing Xukai say softly, "Thank you for still believing in me." She replied simply, "I never stopped." And for a moment, even the production crew had tears in their eyes. Later that night, Xukai posted a single photo to his social media, a blurred shot of 2 silhouettes hugging under golden light. His caption read, "Some moments don't belong to the stage, they belong to the soul." TanSongyun reposted it hours later with her own quiet words, "The silence finally made sense." And with that, the world understood. It wasn't just a reunion. It was forgiveness, closure, and renewal, wrapped in a single, breathtaking embrace. As one fan perfectly wrote in a viral post that reached millions, that hug wasn't just between 2 people. It was between truth and time, and love finally won. The lights dimmed. The applause faded. But what happened after the camera stopped, that was the moment no one saw. Because behind the velvet curtains of that grand award hall, away from the roaring fans and flashing cameras, Xukai and TanSongyun finally came face to face, truly, for the first time in months. No scripts. No stage. No distance left to hide behind. The corridor was quiet, except for the faint hum of reporters outside and the muffled echo of applause still rippling through the hall. Xukai's hand was still trembling slightly from the adrenaline. TanSongyun stood just a few feet away, her silver gown catching the faint backstage light. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. It wasn't awkward silence, it was the kind of silence that feels sacred, charged, like a pause before something that changes everything. Xukai finally exhaled, running a hand through his hair, his voice breaking the stillness. "You didn't have to come up on stage," he said softly. "They could have called someone else." TanSongyun looked at him, her expression unreadable at first, then softened. "If I hadn't," she said, "you would have kept standing there alone." He laughed, just once, the sound trembling with emotion. "You've always known when I needed you, haven't you?" She smiled faintly, but her eyes glistened. "Even when you didn't want me to." He took a step closer, then another. The air between them grew heavy, electric, like gravity itself had pulled them together again. "Do you know how many times I wanted to call you?" Xukai whispered. "Every time my name trended, every time I walked into an interview, I thought, if I hear her voice, I'll be fine again. But I didn't. Because I thought maybe you were done with me." TanSongyun's lips parted slightly, her breath shaky. "I was hurt, Xukai. You disappeared. You let the rumors grow." "I had to," he said quietly. "They were turning everything into noise." I thought if I stepped back, I'd protect what we had left. She shook her head, eyes glistening. You can't protect something by pretending it's not there. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, slowly, Xukai reached out, hesitantly at first, and brushed a loose strand of hair from her face. You're right, he said. And that's why I said your name on that carpet. Because I was tired of pretending. Her eyes locked onto his, searching, questioning, trembling between old pain and new hope. So that wasn't just for the cameras, she whispered. Xukai's gaze didn't waver. Nothing about you has ever been for the cameras. And in that instant, that fragile, impossible second, the world seemed to stop spinning.